Hey there, welcome back to Pacer Talks About Bullying. I'm Bailey. We're glad you're here. This month, we're talking all about inclusion. In this week's episode, we are so excited to have Nick with us from Special Olympics, and he's going to share a little bit more with us about inclusion. Let's get into the video. So this week, we are so excited to have Nick on Pacer Talks About Bullying. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So would you mind just starting by sharing a little bit about Special Olympics and the Unified Schools program?
Yeah, the Unified Schools program at Special Olympics is a worldwide initiative to get inclusion into schools. But it's much more than a program, it's more of a mindset that we're trying to cultivate towards inclusion. Mm-hmm. And we're going to do that through elevating schools in inclusive youth leadership, unified sports, and whole school engagement. And we hope that when schools instill those three programs, inclusion is going to skyrocket for students with and without disabilities in their school.
Amazing. And what would you say is the impact of inclusion for all students in the program?
Yeah, inclusion is not just for individuals with and without disabilities, but we're going to start there because of the discrepancies in schools. 56% of students who are in special education are segregated from their general education peers on average, and that's a nationwide stat. And so the impact that this program is having is it's bringing those students together through sports, through leadership, and through social opportunities.
Amazing. And have you seen that there are benefits for inclusion, not only for the students with disabilities, but for students without disabilities as well?
Yeah, on average, about 15% of students in schools are in special education. And with the unified movement, we're now targeting the 100%, the 85% of students without disabilities. And so the impact that's lasting on them is they're seeing students sometimes for the first time for their abilities rather than disabilities. And what gets us excited is what's going to happen when these students graduate. They're going to be the next doctors, they're going to be the next lawyers, they're going to be the next politicians, the entrepreneurs. They're going to shape inclusion for society as a whole, and we're going to start that in schools.
Yeah, so it's really making that change on that entire school level for everyone.
Yep.
So you talked a little bit about the benefits for students in the program. What would you say the ripple effect is, not only on the school, but then in the community as well?
Yeah, so inclusion is going to spread outside of the clubs, outside of the sports teams. It's going to change lunchrooms and how those look. It's going to change hallways and how students interact. And in some cases, it's changed the physical aspect of the building, where now special education, we're firm believers, special education's not a classroom, it's a service. And so schools are now altering their special education offerings to be more inclusive around the school. And so you'll see those ripple effects in the schools. But again, once those students graduate, the impact that inclusion is having on parents is huge, on lawmakers, local lawmakers, and community stakeholders is opening eyes again for individuals with disabilities and what they can do rather than what they can't do.
Yeah, it's not just this isolated change, but it's really impacting so much farther.
Yep.
And so you work with a lot of schools and a lot of students. I have to ask, do you have a favorite story, or what's your favorite kind of part about the Unified Schools program?
My favorite part is hearing from parents and the impact that this is having on their child, specifically students that have a disability. Sometimes this is the first time that student with a disability is going over to a general education student's house because that student reached out and invited them to their birthday party or to a movie or a game night. And so to hear that story from that parent with a disability is amazing, because for 16 years they've never received that phone call. They get that phone call one weekend because of Unified, and it's changed their entire landscape and really the family dynamics as well.
That's amazing. I'm sure you get calls like that a lot from parents, which is really cool. So if there's a school out there and they want to get involved in a program like this, what's one thing that you would tell them?
I would say to start small. Again, it's not more so a program, it's a mindset. And so simply sitting together at lunch is huge, or saying hello in the hallway, that's inclusion. And so you don't need a specific program to instill, it's just that small interaction on a daily basis that'll change the landscape.
So as we wrap up this video, is there anything else you want people to know about inclusion?
Yeah, I think inclusion is all about bringing people together. And so we're firm believers today's classrooms are tomorrow's communities. And if we're not fostering inclusion in the classroom, in the hallways, and the lunchrooms, then we're missing a huge opportunity for the next unified generation to bring inclusion to their lives.
I think that's an amazing takeaway for everyone watching this video. Thanks again for Nick for being on this episode of Pacer Talks About Bullying. Make sure to join us right back here next week as we continue to talk about inclusion. And remember, together we can help create a world without bullying. See ya!